Herzlich willkommen, good morning and welcome to Altenberg in Germany on a cold and frosty November morning, a month from Christmas. Beautiful conditions for racing. It's the season opener in the IBSF Men's Skeleton World Cup. The first of two runs down the track to decide the first gold medal of the season. Hello everybody, Martin Haven and John Morgan at one of the toughest tracks in the business, John.
Well, the track built by the East German sports machine way back in the early 80s. This track is a challenge for the athletes, especially the first event of the year. Alexander Tretiakov, he's the Russian rocket, we call him. He's got the start record here and pretty much every place else. On this track here up top, you have to be very quiet. A lot of mistakes up here, can erase a lot of time. The biggest challenge on the track right here, exit of Omega, 4 to 5. If the athletes don't get it right, we have this little thing we call the scorpion move, and it's not pretty to watch, especially for your time at the bottom. 6, 7, 8, 9, the pivotal part of the track. The old Shodai curve named after the 94 Olympic Games gold medalist in bobsledding. Into Kreisel, what a challenge. Exit with a slingshot effect. 11, 12, maybe the most challenging two-corner combination on any track on the planet. 14, you exit uphill. Boy, you can lose a lot of time here. Bottom part of the track, still accelerating, looking for speed. Into the finish. Boy, what a challenge for these athletes. Track record. Wow, Raphael Meyer, look at that.
February 2015, Austrian. Yeah.
Must have been a Europa Cup event.
Young Austrians setting the pace at the end of the season. And the track, very quick yesterday. Undercover at the top, all the sleds. Final preparation work completed and final preparation work as well for our World Cup and World Champion Martin Stukurz. 6 wins out of 8 starts last year. Alexander Tretiakov, the Olympic champion. He didn't do the entire season in the World Cup. He won the other 2 races, including back home in Sochi in Russia. And Sunbin Jung of Korea, one of the electrifying starters. We expect to see a lot from him. Matt Antoine, we had Thanksgiving dinner with the Americans a couple of nights ago. He was in good form. And Axel Jung, big fan club here to watch him. Martins and Thomas Stukurz, they saw Lauda Pregelena of Latvia having a really good run yesterday. And the Latvians looking for a first win to start the season. Well, Thomas Stukurz, who was runner-up in the World Cup standings last year, he will kick off. Top 10 in the World Cup rankings go into the random draw. So Dave Kochetchin of Canada goes off 2, Sunbin Jung of Korea 3. And all our front runners will be in the top 10. Big field, 26 athletes, including 2 first-time ever World Cup appearances. And the field will be cut to 20 after the first heat. Only the fast 20 go through. So from Hansin Lee and Mikael Zakrau on down, they're in the danger area and need to fight their way into the top 20. Well, lots to talk about here, and Altenberg always produces spectacle. You'll be able to see very clearly when things are going right and especially wrong for our athletes. Latvia's Thomas Stukurz gets the season underway. The first slide of the World Cup goes to the Latvian. They had 3 1-2s, him and his brother, at the start of the season last year. Let's see how Thomas's off-season has gone.
Second oldest man in the competition at 34 years old. In the last 2 Olympic Games, 2010, 2014, he was 4th. Thomas just seems like he's hanging on. But, as you said, last year he started off with 3 silver medals, ended up 2nd in World Cup points, and probably one of the tallest athletes in the field.
5:14, a good start. Start record, Tretiakov is a 4:89. It's a little frosty this morning. We might not see that broken in the first heat. Good speed, 1:12 is 70 miles an hour.
Boy, that's flying compared to yesterday's times.
Cold night overnight. It was very clear, very crisp this morning, and a 56.61.
Wow, that's
1100s outside the record.
I think the record's going down. If we see that first guy down, that's the rabbit, the person that we can get a feel for the track.
Good speed down the bottom, 1:17.6. That's 73 miles an hour. Head first, chin on the ice. Think about that when you consider what that kind of speed might be like.
And here's where he achieved that speed, and doing a little ping pong off the right and left walls on the exit of 13. Hits there before the takedown of 14. You want to try and avoid that. That last acceleration point available to you there.
Canada's Dave Krzyzewski, 36 years old, so the two oldest sliders go off first and second.
That's appropriate.
Second year, age before beauty. Second year, I'm going to get killed for that. Second year in the World Cup. And this big man from Canada, always with a smile.
He is a big guy, rugby player, and you know, we always look at that beautiful helmet. Boy, there's some beautiful helmets that the skeleton athletes paint on.
Well, that reflects his nickname, Grizz. Krzyzewski is just so hard for everybody to pronounce. He became Grizz very quickly.
Watch, here's the big exit of 4-5. Does he do the scorpion move? No, perfect there. Female athletes were having a lot of problems there yesterday. And the exits from 4-5. Dave, very relaxed.
Just 1200s off the lead.
Decent speed. I mean, this is a big man, too. Him and Dukars, besides being the oldest guys in the competition, might be the two biggest guys.
108.6, 67.5 miles an hour, so just a little slower than Dukars.
314, no speed, almost 3 kilometers down, mile and a half. That's a lot in a sport with hundreds of seconds at the finish line. Lost a lot of time on the bottom.
3-2, second place.
But I think if you look at this, 7,100s back from Dukars. I can't say that was a great run for Dave. I would say if he was 3,000s back, that would have been the number he was looking for.
Read the body English, he wasn't thrilled with that run.
Love you.
Been away from home for a while, these guys already.
Now watch his hands here. Now look at where he's starting, what groove. Everybody changes, different preferences. It looks he gets that big 6'2", 200-pound frame onto that little, what do they call them? Trays?
T-tray, yeah.
T-trays?
Suicide head-first T-tray. Somin Young of Korea, just 21 years old, in his third season on ice, started 2012, and you see his helmet, the Iron Man helmet. That's his comic book hero.
You see, he starts on the outside groove.
Yeah. And he starts right.
Little slip there.
Push.
Looked like a slip. That's what made him
5-10, big start.
Well, he's famous for the starts. So we have Superman and Dukars, we have the Russian Rocket and Trechikov, and we got the Iron Man here.
Koreans have been packing on the muscle and the power over the summer break. Just 200s off the lead.
Good slider, multiple medalists last year, first ever medals for Korea in the sliding sports.
And he's young.
I mean, the guy's 21 years old.
12-1, same speed as Krzyzewski.
You know what his favorite music is? From a guy.
Oh, yeah. Should be K-pop. Everybody else in Korea is a big K-pop fan. Yeah. That big exit where you hit the ball there, there's a great photo on Facebook overnight from our women's race winner, Laura Diesel, and huge bruises down her left arm from that big impact.
Yeah, but she did it in one.
She did.
So Richard
Bromley.
So was in the Fox, obviously using it.
Bromley have had a big sales push over the last 12 months. He's got a lot of customers here, and Richard will be at all the races. He's one of the coaches from the Korean
Look at his leg drive, turnover. Watch his hand. Look at the size of his thighs.
Look at the quads.
Look, he slipped there. We caught that slip.
Yeah.
We caught that slip. So that's what caused him to come over here in this wall.
Yeah.
Great pictures from
quads
our team.
like a track cyclist, hasn't he?
Now, he hits here twice. Now he goes to the middle of the curve. A lot of steering. That's why he got 115 kilometers down there compared to our leader Dukars, who had 117 kilometers. You can see a little body language. He wasn't happy.
Yellow vest is our World Cup points leader. Well, as last year's World Cup champion, Marcus Dukars carries it into race one. The 31-year-old Olympic silver medalist, double Olympic silver medalist.
Very quiet entry onto the sled and exit. Does not have any problems with the wall.
Big start, 5:03.
Normal.
50,2 Kilometer pro Stunde.
Now he has to get through 4-5. A little steering there. And no problem.
That's the biggest steer as you'll see from Martins Ducars all season.
4-5 is not a problem for the men the way it was for the women last night. Different temperatures, different ice conditions.
A lot more muscle mass as well. A lot more weight on the sled makes it more controllable.
He's only got 1600ths lead on his brother. A couple dips there in Kreisel, as expected. 111's good. Now the 117-kilometer speed is what he wants to see down here on the exit of 13-14. And he's perfect, but it's only 12.
Wow,
but he's got the speed, 118, so he can accelerate away. Be 25 or 2600 here at the bottom.
56.47, a brand new track record.
Surprise, a track record from Martins Ducars.
Well, listen, we've already seen in training how quick the track is this week.
This is such a fantastic sliding facility. You know, it's a challenge for the athletes. Unbelievable pictures for television to present the sport. And you still get track records from the best in the world.
This is what they come for. They come for the challenge of this track.
So we saw track record in women's bobsled.
Yes.
Did we see track record in women's skeleton?
No. We saw a start and a finish record in the women's bob, but we've had a track record, and we've still got our fastest starter in the field to come as well.
The rocket. Look at he hit right at the finish line.
Yeah. Same as Laura Dees, that last blow before the wall. Just letting it fly through the final corner. Willi Schneider holds the sled for Nikita Tregibov. 12th in last year's World Cup rankings. 20 years old. From Krasnoyarsk, lives and trains close to Alexander Tretyakov.
This is a young phenom coming here. He's right in the footsteps behind Tretyakov. Good start. It's 49, yeah, 49.7, about a half kilometer down to Ducars, but of course he's behind Ducars in the start time.
Tretyakov is talking about him and the others. He said, I'm the old man now in the team when we were in Sochi last year. He said, these young guys, 20, he said, I can't compete with them. He's going to try.
He will have a little thing to say about the podium.
Well, he's given away 10 years, but
look at this. Wow, best
13,
speed.
that's really quick.
I said this kid's a phenom, and he will be. He's got the lead. Now the speed at the bottom, 118 clicks is what Ducars had. These are good lines.
Yeah.
118.
Wow.
This is another track record. If he can hold it.
Put a smile on Willi Schneider's face. He will break the record and has the lead
By a lot.
by 1100ths.
Phenom. 20 might be the new changing of the guard, as we are 2 years out from the Olympic Games. No one's dominated the sport. The Ducars brothers, Tretyakov, this kid here could have the dominating season, because this is the toughest track. And if he can slide like that on this track, I think the rest of the field should realize there's at least 2 Russians that can get on the podium on a consistent basis. Look how relaxed he is, 20 years old. He's not even smiling.
Nikita Tregibov of Russia, our early leader. First of 2 heats. Men's skeleton season opener. Russia leads. Russia next up. Alexander Tretyakov, the Russian rocket. The former start record holder, the current start record holder here. Could do with breaking that to try and overhaul the current leader, his 10-year younger teammate, Nikita Tregibov. Wow, 4.90, 100th off the record, but that's 1800ths quicker than anybody has started this morning.
And he's a half a kilometer, almost a full kilometer better than the best speed. Let's see if he gets through here okay. Ooh, no. First scorpion of the day. Not a bad one compared to what the females were doing last night, but that's going to cost him.
Carrying so much more speed than anybody else. Started nearly 2/10 of a second quicker.
Oh, but doesn't have that speed.
Same speed as Tregibov, though.
Yeah,
1:12.4.
I thought Tregibov had 13.
And then we're into the Kreisel. 1:11 out of it. Yeah, you know you're right, yes.
Speed 117 here, probably. 118, that's good. Could be right to the 100th, either way. Could be the leader. Another track record, maybe.
Will be required, and he takes it. And another 1200ths quicker. This is amazing pace these men are producing.
I'll tell you something, the Russian women last night did not win any medals, but boy, were they impressive at the start. They're young. The Russian men, they are 1 and 2. The Latvians, the 1 and 2. The Latvians are 3 and 4.
Yep.
Look at his expression. Okay.
Well, Dave Krzyzewski, when he came down second, he was 7/10 off the lead. He's now over a second off the lead. We've only had 6 sliders, but
there's the only mistake. What would he have done if he didn't make that mistake?
it would have been another 2/10 quicker, possibly.
Down here on the bottom, looks like it gets away from him a little bit, but the speed in the finish, his teammate was still a half kilometer better. But Tretyakov won this heat by the start. His 50-meter start time, which the Russian rocket has done that for every year he's been in the sport.
He started 1800s quicker, finished 1200s quicker. Christopher Grother of Germany has just seen what's gone before. The athletes don't watch the runs, but he will know that the Russians were blazing. The 23-year-old.
The PA system would have told him the track record. Oh, he looked like a little slip there. 23-year-old guy, like you say, another young German, way off the start. 49 change, at 48.9. Boy, if you don't have that start speed. Now he needs to be perfect, including through the Scorpion exit here.
It's the slowest start we've seen so far.
Good form, feet really well positioned. Looks like he's really in control, but he's 6/10 down now. And he's going to have some kind of magical lines.
Well, that's a great exit from Chudai down into the Kreisel. 1:11.7.
Great, but he stopped the bleeding. Now at 74, and he's going to continue to lose more. But you know, the guys that he's chasing down, the 18.
He is up against the sprint masters. 1:16.8, good speed. Only the Russians and Martin Stukos have been quicker, but 8/10 back.
Not the same smile on
place at the
Jens'
moment.
face as he had last night with these young German female skeleton athletes who didn't have great starts, but boy, did they fly in the bottom part of the track. The German athletes last night were very impressive.
Second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, they were. It was almost a sweep. It wasn't for Laura D's fantastic performance. Look at the feet. Kreisel, he doesn't disappear. Oh, a little steer there. We saw a lot of people up on the roof last night.
A little low on the first sprint, and we will in this heat as well. As we get down to the less experienced sliders, we're definitely going to see them up near the woodwork. Talk about experience. This man, Matt Antoine, same age as Alexander Tretyakov from Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, the Olympic bronze medalist. So we have all our Olympic medalists competing here in the men's skeleton.
On a U.S. design sled, Pro Star. Tall athlete, much like a Thomas Ducars. A little thicker than Tretyakov.
He always looks long and lean, doesn't he, Matt?
Yeah, way off the pace. So wow, the 8th best start, the worst start of the 8 competitors, and he's going to have all he can do to get even ahead of the German, who's in 6th place. Not bad through the 4-5 challenge, the first real problem on the track. Now, the pivotal part of the track is this Harold Shodai curve here. Slingshot effect number 1.
Good exit.
Good.
Really nice. Stayed away from the wall. 1:11.5, a fraction slower than Christopher Grother.
Second slingshot effect here is on the exit of Kreisel 10.
Not finding any more pace either.
No speed here at all.
It's really hard to close. If you think of it like a drag race, if the guy alongside you gets off the line much faster and gets up through the gears quick, so it's going to need a lot of distance to chase him down. 1:15.9 at the bottom, Matt Antoine in 8th.
7.43.
Well, when you have the slowest
and
start
8th
time,
place
you
at
have
the
a good
moment.
chance to have the slowest downtime, and that's what he just accomplished there. Surprised with that start. He might be injured. I don't know. We saw him the other night. We had dinner at the
Pretty happy.
Thanksgiving dinner at the U.S. hotel the other night, and he looked great. We didn't hear any injuries, but he's usually a better starter than that. He's usually within 10, 12 hundredths of the Ducars.
That's in North America at the moment. Dave Krzyzewski ahead of Matt Antoine.
This is the exit of Kreisel.
He had nice lines. I wondered when he came out in the middle how much heuld had to steer, but
Ooh, foot
just
drag
a little
there,
flop.
little tap, but his race had already left him before he got to Kreisel.
Yep.
No speed, no start, no speed, no finish time.
Don Parsons from Great Britain next up, 28-year-old Londoner. Started sliding back in 2007, engineering student, working on internal combustion engines.
He's long, 400-meter sprinter in his day. Very positive start to the season. We're talking to him. Of course, with the British winning last night in the women's skeleton. I mean, the world Olympic champion sort of takes a year off, Lizzie Garland, but another British athlete steps in.
Yeah, the boys are down watching the race yesterday, getting inspired as Laura Dees claimed her first ever World Cup win. Slightly more tricky here, perhaps, in the men's field to beat the Dukurs and the Russians.
No other more successful sliding nation, Great Britain, for a nation that doesn't have a track.
Yep.
You know what they've done.
Oh, lost a lot of speed in the Chrysler. 112 going in. I was about to say that was good. 108.8 coming out. He did a lot of steering in the Chrysler.
And he's the lowest speed almost of anybody here in the finish. He's going to have all he can do to stay with the other American-Canadian sleds.
Sixth place into the Chrysler, 8th at the bottom.
100th better than that, Antoine. So as good as things were for the English-speaking nations in the first two competitions here in women's bob, women's skeleton, not so good so far here in men's skeleton. It's a leaderboard of Russians, Latvians, and a Korean in 5th.
What happened in the Chrysler? Where did it go wrong? Was he just having to steer too much and scrubbing off the speed?
He got away from him in the Chrysler. Here you'll see it, his feet are apart. He comes down, he almost disappears. When you disappear like that, centrifugal force back up to the roof. That's not the way you want to be looking at the exit of that curve.
And you saw the mark that the runners left in the ice as he was steering away from the bottom wall, because otherwise he'd come up too high on the exit and roll off. Yeah, first pressure was wrong in the Chrysler, and that kills the rest of your run.
He's got the highest lines in Chrysler so far.
24-year-old German Axel Jung, big fan club here supporting him. Like his teammate Christopher Grother, works and trains at Oberhof, the other Eastern German track. He's from Schockau. He's training.
Some really fast times in training.
Third in last year's World Cup standings, never on a decent podium.
A decent start and great speed. So this athlete made some statements in training. There was a couple training times that I looked and I went, wow.
Third fastest start, only 100s behind Martin's Dukurs. That's a great getaway from him.
Boy, he lost a lot of time though. For that start to be 2300s down, let's see if he can get some magical speeds in and out of the Chrysler. Give him a chance.
First place at the moment, 112.3. That's not bad. Quicker than the Korean Sobin Young.
A little feet change there, 110's not that great. He's holding his time. Gonna need at least 116 or 17 down here to have any chance. 116 and a half, fourth or fifth here. Wasn't what he was doing in training, but still respectable.
Oh, big skid off the final corner as well. 56.68, 5th place. Okay, so 2 Russians, 2 Latvians in front. That's the best from the rest of the planet. And that's pretty much how you have to look at it. I see the way already the championship is shaping up this year.
Well, with his start time, what he just did there, I like his chances this year. I think the Germans can be very encouraged.
Look at the hands as well.
Watch
that
the
leg speed.
Acceleration onto the sled. Look at the angle you have to jump on. And you think this is easy? Look at the ice chip away from the grooves. He used a different groove. He came down the other side.
Yeah. So Alexander Chetikov, Nikita Tregibov, 1-2 for Russia, 10 down, and 16 still to come in Heat 1. Top 10 are down here in Altenberg, Germany. Martin Haven and John Morgan bringing you the action of the season opener in men's skeleton. Matthias Guggenberger of Austria gets start draw number 11, the 31-year-old from Innsbruck, heading into this year's World Championships on his home track.
Been fighting off a lot of injuries the last couple of years. Start not bad.
Empirically, 5.16 is a decent start. If you can take a 10th out of that, and that's a huge ask, that could be a very quick start indeed.
Not so big skates, not so good results in women's skeleton, but in women's bob. Silver medal from Christina Hengster.
Christina Hengster, first race in her brand new sled on the podium. 3 sleds on the podium, BTC Latvian sleds, and 2 of them were being driven for the very first time.
well for the World Championships for the Austrians, and later on in February this year, go back to that historic track, sport landmark, way off the pace, 114 kilometers, not any kind of speed.
11th place.
11 out of 11. He had the 7th best start. The coaches just shake their heads and walk away.
Big skid, corner 4, corner 3 to 4. I thought, oh, that's really unusual. And, you know, when you get a big corner like the Omega coming up towards you, and you know you're on the wrong line, you have to do some work, and unfortunately, that cost him.
That was not what he wanted.
Same helmet design as Janine Flock.
I think they have a little something in common there. Skid into
Big
13-14. He's trying to get over to the take-on. You look at his feet, they're acting like rudders. It's so easy to sit up here.
Well, they know the same, and they know more mistakes than we'll be able to spot as well. 31-year-old Hiro Takahashi from Nagano, Japan, former baseball player. It's Japan's biggest sport, biggest TV sport, apart from golf, which is their biggest participation sport.
Good technique. Kazumiro Koshi standing behind him as coach. The legendary actually coach the skeleton program. He's thinking skeleton. He's the real responsible for the Japanese are still here. Takahashi, a top 7 here, I think, last year. I asked him about his chances, and he says he's got an improved start.
Yeah, 5:28. It's better than it was.
Good slider. You know, he's posted some good top 10 results. 11.3 is not the great speed. Boy, he disappeared. Anytime you see somebody disappear in that Kreisel, that's not the line that you want.
This was his best race of the year last season. He was 7th place finish. And as you say, the year before, the 2 Japanese boys really looked like they'd suddenly cracked it. And then, boy, everybody else fought right back.
His teammates over in the ICC.
57.65.
Beat Guggenberger by 8. 11th out of 12. I don't think he's real happy with that. Of course, he had the 11th best start time. He had the 11th best down time. The guy leading the race had the best start time. Might have something to do with it. What do you think? Huh?
Tregibov had the 4th best start time and the top speed, though. So this is a place where you can drive into contention.
Well, he just drove himself out of contention with that line. Anytime you disappear in the bottom part of that Kreisel, centrifugal force, back up, not good.
World Cup rookie last year, Pavel Kulikov, just did a couple of races. The 23-year-old former pentathlon, cross-country skier, karate player from St. Petersburg.
Good turnover, leg drive right there. But he didn't launch onto the sled like we see some athletes. Start time not
5:18, that's not bad though.
9th best start, not like his 2 Russian teammates.
That's true.
And he's over a kilometer down in speed. And, you know, now you have to have the perfect lines. And here comes 4.5.
He's in the Russian military. He says they have a sport there they call polyathlon, which is 5 events: running, shooting, grenade throwing. I know. Everybody goes, what? Can we have a go at that? 4700's down, still moving from a 9th place start. That's high.
Too high. Maybe a little rough exit there.
Still got good speed.
Not bad.
I don't know if this is
second out.
a development Willi Schneider's got on the sleds at the moment, but the Russians are producing good speed.
This could be top 6 or 7. 7th maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh, late there though. Bang.
7th place it is.
Yeah.
So we've
Not
got
bad.
Russians 1st, 2nd, and 7th.
Well,
57.05.
Tell you, the Russian
7th place at the
females,
moment.
girls last night didn't do as well. Unbelievable starts. And I just think it's a matter of time we get to the track in Altenberg next week. We go to the World Championships. Watch out with those start times.
Slightly wondered whether the weather had effect on it yesterday. They didn't quite get the setup spot on, and it's so important when you're playing with thousands.
Watch him hit here coming out of the finish. This is bang.
He knew it was coming as well. As he dropped down out of the final corner, you could see the legs spread. He was trying to mitigate against that.
Laura D says it knocked the wind out of her.
Yeah.
And she still won the race.
Yeah. Well, you do anything to get to the line. Matti Gaspari of Italy, just 22 years old, from Cortina d'Ampezzo. One of Italy's most historic winter towns, of course. Started in 2010 in the team.
over the hand. Oh, slip, and you still.
And that shows.
Right, see now, watch him come out of the grooves. All the energy was taking him to the other side of the groove, and he exited the grooves and hit the wall.
It's a little silly to say it, but it shows how slick it is up at the top. Sometimes there is more grip in the ice, and some days there's less, and it is very, very shiny today.
You can't just take for granted sprinting and jumping on that stuff. It's a very athletic technique, something that you have to perform every single time perfectly, or you don't finish at the bottom with a good time.
Things you learn in this sport, there's hard ice and soft ice. Who knew? 107 again, all the speed gone away in the Kreisel. It was really frosty the last couple of days of training because it was so humid. There was a lot more grip to the runners. And I think a lot of these athletes are finding that it is sliding more than they expected, and the really quick guys are able to react. Not sure everybody else is quite getting a handle on it by the time they get to the Kreisel.
7.83 the time in 14th place.
57.83. 14th in the start order, 14th in the finish order, Mattia Gaspari.
Now we start talking about who can qualify for the top 26.
Well, you're absolutely right. So, yeah, from 14th on down, there's no guarantee you'll be in the top 20.
Look at his right foot. Look at that.
Yeah.
He's got his foot so far off to the right, there was no spikes into the ice.
He was already off
now
balance.
Watch him exit. Now watch if they speed it up, you'll see him exit, and the energy, because his body's still turning, he's all wound up like a top, and he knows he's going to the wall. Beautiful pictures.
And you see the legs and the hips trying to haul the sled across.
Look at his eyes, like, oh no, this is what I have to do at the start.
That's what they always say, sled follows the eyes. Look where you want to go. Dave Swift of Great Britain. Swift by name, Swift by nature. He's a sprinter. His dad trains Great Britain's sprint team. He's a personal trainer as well. Born in Eastbourne on the south coast, now trains at the University of Bath.
Whole British skeleton teams there, right?
Yeah, and the Bob start track there as well. And Swifty knows how to get out of the blocks. Let's see what he's got. Is he down close to 5.0 something? 5.06.
Fourth best start, great. Speed, 49.9, one of the best speeds. Now let's see if he can hold it. The first Albatross challenge, right? Exit of 4.5, watch out.
In 4.
Oh, yeah. He had a little problem there.
And did you see how much sideways sliding there was in the sled? Again.
With that start time, he's already 4,200s down, and it's going to get worse.
Now that's a good exit. That could keep speed on board down to the Kreisel.
One of the lowest
speeds.
One of the lowest speeds we've seen here.
Now, whatever he's gone for in terms of setup, it hasn't worked in these conditions.
He's 5 kilometers down, 3 miles an hour down.
He's trying to keep it smooth. 1:10.8, though, that is not going to help him too much.
I think you're right about the setup. He doesn't all the way down the
lots
track.
of scraping and scratching.
Yeah, with the fourth best start, 15th at the bottom. That's
The time and
you
15th
have to
place
drive.
at
And
the
of course,
moment.
this track, he'll do much better on a track like Winterberg, much better on a track like Innsbruck. The championships Eagles will be.
I tell you what, 58.15, he might not make heat 2. Off the 4th quickest start.
I agree.
And setup, like a racing car, is pivotal in these. Look at that.
There's the Scorpion.
No control at all off 4.
Yeah.
None. And in the middle of 4, you could see the big
when you're going
slide.
slow. When you're going slow. Can't do that up top. And that's why he had just 5 kilometer deficiencies all the way down the track.
Trechikov, our top 2. That's not going to change in the rest of this heat. Head first, Ed Smith next up. No, it's not. This is Joe Cecchini of
No, it's Ed Smith.
Okay, so what's happened to Cecchini? He's been pulled. He's supposed to start 16th. So he's got a hamstring injury, and it sounds as though that has aggravated in training. So it is Ed Smith, 29-year-old Bristolian engineer.
Yeah, that Cecchini's been complaining about his hamstring all week.
I talked to him after training the other day, and he said he was hoping to start, but clearly it's not got better.
In bobsled, you can just sit in the sled. It's different story. Story and skeleton.
You're behind the sled at the top, you ain't going anywhere.
Real high there. Speed, not there.
Well, better than Swifty, who was 1:06.8.
27 down. This looks like a 13th place run. boy, he lost it all the way down the track.
Yep.
I think that's going to be good enough for probably 19th position. So very surprised about the British skeleton guys. I mean, of course, Ed Smith at the 16th best start time.
Coach Eric Donatus was really happy yesterday, but it does look as though they've all kind of put their resources together and come up with roughly what they think is going to work on the sleds, and I think they've missed the target. Yeah, I mean, he's looking at this going, what happened there? What went wrong?
Much better times in training.
Yeah, I think the same with Swifty. Swifty knows turn 4 killed his speed, but I'm sure Ed knows quite what went wrong. Another bear on a helmet. This is Barrett Martineau, Bear Martineau, ski jumping coach by training. Calgary in Alberta.
Helmet?
Yeah, the Grizzly. 5:23 getaway. And at this part of the field, your 10 to 20s, that's a competitive start. Shuttles out of 4, carries the speed well into 5.
He's a ski jumper originally, a ski jump coach. I said when I was doing the bios, he's the only ski jumper I got. No, there's another guy coming up right after him who's a ski jumper. So, diversity in those sports.
Yeah, Raphael Meyer, who's the track record holder, he started at ski jumping at the age of 12. So one of the few pursuits where his mother was probably happy that he started going headfirst down the mountain.
Well, Benny Meyer, Raphael Meyer, I think the mother just turned her back on all those kids and let Manfred, the father, take over. 15th, 1:57 out. So he's ahead of two other athletes. I would say he's right on the bubble. Right on the bubble for
gives him a chance of heat too.
He's right there in the top 3 for helmets, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's great. There's some great helmet art going on with these guys. And you know, it's such an individual sport. You spend the whole life, even if you're in a team, sort of traveling a little bit as a lone pilot.
This is dangerous here. Look at that, off the sled, the leg comes up. Now watch him crash. This is the same picture out of the same exit. And that is dangerous. And then that thing about time at the bottom.
That's uncomfortable. Next up, Michael Zachrau from Germany, 21-year-old, again from Oberhof. All 3 Germans here from the Oberhof training camp.
This is another ski jumper.
Yeah.
Pretty thick, pretty big.
Now ran a little to the right there.
10th best start. Not bad. Now, with that start, knowing the track, I would think he could finish in the top 10.
Here's a World Cup rookie. This is his World Cup debut race.
Another young German.
10th start, 11th place on split times at the moment.
And the Germans were very impressive last night in women's skeleton. Not with their start times, but boy, they can fly down the track, which is their coach Jens Mueller, Olympic gold medalist for East Germany in the Olympic Games. He's got the ice figured out. He's got some good young athletes here.
They've got the setup working well as well. These guys have got lots of control. Good speed.
This is good speed.
Yeah.
This is a World Cup debut. This is a pretty good run.
This is going to be a top 10 finish, 9th place.
Come on,
right
Jens.
Behind Christopher Grodehair. That's a really good run.
with that.
Yeah.
He had the 10th best start, 9th best downtime. That's a good drop.
3 Germans in the top 9. Bearing in mind you've got 2 Russians and the Latvian brothers in there. That's 4 of the 9 places. So effectively you've got 3 Germans in the remaining 5. Yeah, he liked that run, and so he should.
We got 3 Germans here in the top 9. That's pretty good.
He should have liked that. 57.19. That wasn't a bad slide at all.
This is 13 to 14. Little tap. Let's see how much it affects him. How much does he slide across the ice?
He knew it was coming, and he
still
balanced.
had good speed. 116 clicks down there.
He knew it was coming, and he knew how to deal with it, and that's the difference. Han-Sin Lee now from Korea, 27-year-old from Jeonbuk. Started in the team in 2010. He was one of the very first guys in their squad after the games. Is that the Siberian Tiger on the helmet? Has the look of it.
18th best start. Not good. Now he's just absolutely perfect. Have a chance.
Now it's about making the cut, isn't it, for Heat 2?
He's going to have all he can do here. He's almost a second down, so I would think he's going to be all he can do to stay within a second and a half.
He needs to try and get ahead of a couple. Ahead of Dave Swift and Matthew Gaspari if he can.
The speed wasn't that bad. He should still hold it on, decent speed. This, you know, he's got a chance to stay in the top 16. Oh, his head's way up there in the exit of 14. 114.9 speed's not bad. I would say 16th.
See where he gets to at the line. It is 16th. So he's 16th. Barrett Martineau 17th. Mattia Gaspari 18th. Dave Swift 19th. Those three are really in the danger zone.
You always want to post the start time and a better finish time. He was 18th at the start, 16th at the finish. Showed his experience because he held good speed all the way down the track, considering the start deficiency.
Yeah. Kreisel, 110.7 in, 110.2 out. He lost nothing in the Kreisel.
Here, look at this, very slight steering there, 13 to 14, comes over under the take-on perfectly. Decent speed on the bottom, and he's got a chance to have a second run.
Next up for Switzerland, first of our two Swiss athletes, Ronald Alderset, 26-year-old.
His favorite athlete, Didier Couch, the skier.
He comes from, he may be the only ice sliding athlete who's come from the sport of floorball.
Yeah,
I have no idea
what
either.
that is. I saw that, I didn't know how to interpret that. Swiss, of course, always had great sliders ever in the sport. They're rebuilding their skeleton program. Bronze medal in Salt Lake, the gold medal Torino in 2006, but they just really haven't had anybody. Maya Pedersen was their last great threat, of course. Now you're probably listening to the broadcast with her husband Snorre Pedersen up there in Norway.
Reading another team, they
Yeah,
need to
there's
hurry
a
up
couple
with
of
it.
them coming. They've got a couple of athletes coming. I'm sure that Snorri's pushing him in the skeleton.
Look, his speed's not bad. He was 11th quickest at the start, 19th, so he's pushed Dave Swift down behind him, so he's got one little buffer, but it all kind of came unstitched very early on. He had a quick start, 5:18's just not bad, but I'm afraid the first few turns undid all of that speed. Mechanical engineering student, I'm sure he knows where it all went wrong, but it was early in the run.
Watch him slip out of the grooves, and
Well,
that's a lot of steering.
Yeah, that hasn't helped.
That, you know, when you toe drag like that, the rudders up top, that's friction, and that's not where you want him. He didn't have very good start speed, and I think that was a result of it.
Marco Ruora next, a 28-year-old former high jumper. Got into this because he was working in the gym, met a young guy called, well, not so young guy, called Pascal Oswald, who it turns out did this crazy downhill sliding thing. It's another one of those 6 degrees of separation thing that brings an athlete into the sport.
14th best start.
Oh!
Might as well have the 20th best start. You see that up there in 4-5. Scorpion technique, we call it. Second down.
Rubbing the wall down into the Kreisel.
He's going to be struggling to get 17th, 18th spot. Unless he gets 110, 108 speed now.
He's in trouble here.
114 speed might give him a chance. 114 kilometers.
He's in 21st place at the moment. He might just get ahead of Dave Swift, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it at the line. And he is 20th, so he is in, and Swift is out. So Dave Swift is out, and Marco Ruora and Ronald Alderset, the Swiss team, are basically the bubble.
The bubble.
They are the bubble. Mattia Gaspari, Barrett Martineau, not sure they're safe either, frankly. There's only
5 to go.
0.3 of a second between them.
I think it's a challenge for everybody coming up. Oh, there's the Scorpion ride. It's when the athletes find out how flexible they are.
Yeah.
Watch the
I
photographer.
noticed
Look at the
this, actually,
photographer here leaning in the track.
Elbow right down. Now you see the athlete just move his head away. Now he was coming to the wall anyway, but yeah, you don't want anything in the track.
I bet you we don't see that photographer there anymore. I bet you a few security guys up there.
Dorin Velicu of Romania turns 30 tomorrow. See if he can give himself a second-run birthday present early. Started back in 2006. He's an athletics coach. You'll see Maria Mazzalou, his teammate down at the bottom, helping with the sled, like he did for her yesterday.
Favorite athlete?
Oh, yikes!
Favorite athlete's Elin Tasso.
Yeah.
If he was even born when that.
Yeah, but he's a national. Yeah, he was.
National hero.
Yeah, he's a national hero. So when he was a boy, a teenager, Ilie Nastase was one of the all-time greats of tennis. Well, there was a man who also taught Big Mac a couple of things about having a tantrum, didn't he? 100.4 off the Kreisel, and all the speed he had at the start was wiped out in 4 to 5. Well, now he's in unfamiliar territory. He's got nothing like the speed you need for the lines to win. Yeah.
Coach.
But he's not making heat 2, 22nd place. That's a real shame, because actually it started quite well.
Look at his hands. He's complaining.
And the walk of shame, he doesn't have the momentum to make it all the way up the hill, and he is disgusted with himself.
Got enough experience to not have to do that. It's
that error.
Legs
again.
coming way up, and then watch him. This means you're going to hit hard at the finish. You come in, you got to go back up here in the finish curve, centrifugal forwards, and bang!
And he's not got the speed to hold the line you need. And that's not the good birthday present. Away goes Ander Marambel of Spain. The man from Barcelona won the opening 2 races of the North America's Cup in Calgary a couple of weeks ago. Double gold medal winning weekend. Now, can he translate that into a second heat here?
22nd best start time. Oh, he did at least partial scorpion there.
On the Bromley sled, and on split times, he's still in 22nd position.
Yeah, not doing good. He's going to have to really have some good lines down here.
It's a good exit. What about the speed into the Kreisel? 109.6. He needs a little more on the exit. Good exit there as well. 107.5.
That's way off the pace.
Not bringing him into contention at the moment.
Bang, bang, down the middle of the curve, 112.
Still 22nd and not making the second heat at the moment. Is he going to get anything at the line? No. 58.47. Martin Rettel shakes his head in disappointment.
22nd best start time, 22nd best finish. And didn't have it in the Kreisel. Had a problem up there in the curve 4-5 transition. Ander, we know you can do better than that.
Well, he came 26th last year at the Altenberg race.
That wasn't too bad. He's not happy about that. He thought he'd be doing much better.
Well, here is a rookie, Nathan Crumpton, 30-year-old. Army brat, if you like, born in Harare, Zambia, and spent a lot of his formative years, he claims, riding water buffalo in Africa. He's traveled all over, lived with the family all over the place, and a World Cup debut.
Long jumper and triple jumper in college, with a track and field background. That's the kind of start he's got.
Referred to triple jumping as athletic masochism. 5:23, 15th best start. Well,
head's way up.
Think of the nerves, you know. It doesn't matter how many times you've been to Altenberg, it's a rough, tough track, and everybody has that little nerves, and it's your first World Cup race as well. He's pretty relaxed after training. Talked to him briefly at dinner the other night. And,
Thanksgiving dinner, that's great.
15th at the start, he's in 18th place. He could make the cut.
That's rough. 104, that's the lowest speed I think we've seen of any athlete. Almost one of the lowest speeds.
Let's see if he's got what it takes. 21st, 23rd, no, it's all drifted away below the Kreisel. That's a real shame for him. 109.6 at the bottom. Doran Velicu of Romania was slower. 23rd place, 58.70, so no second heat for him. That's a disappointment, I'm afraid, for
15th best start, 23rd at the bottom. If you're 15th at the start, you should be able to maintain your placing. But he's a World Cup rookie, and he's on the toughest track on the planet. And that's why he had no speed.
Yeah.
You know, the 4-5 transition, and then this isn't very enticing.
Well, all the
Look at his
classic
foot, look at his
elements.
foot at the wall there
Yeah.
first. Usually the sled absorbs the shock, and
All
his foot hit
the
it.
classic elements at Altenberg that wait to trip you, they all got him. Another rookie then, Florian Auer, son of Christian Auer, multiple world champion, and brother of Alexander Auer, who made his debut for Austria last year, 21-year-old. First World Cup race.
Now give him credit. Everybody in the field is an athlete, a soldier, a student. You know what his profession is?
He's a plumber.
Plumber.
Yeah. We've got a plumber and
We got
an
a real-
electrician. We
we
need
got
a
a
couple
real
of
blue-collar
plasterers.
guy here.
Get a couple of plasterers in the field. We could build a house with skeleton athletes.
First guy that listed a real job.
Yeah, Bernd Hefty's a builder as well. That's neat by trade.
Pretty quiet lines.
24th for the start, 23rd place now. He could
not
be
bad.
driving himself into the race.
Those are good lines here. 107s. Respectable, but he needs to.
Marco Rora is in 20th at the moment, the last man to make the race. He is
Looks like
drifting
he's in,
away.
No speed
Drifting
there.
away. It's all gone.
113's not bad, though. That's not a bad speed down here. Look at the coaches look on. Mickey Grumberger, 23rd, they look. And that's Mr. Auer's World Cup debut. Through and down. He'll get a chance to next week in Winterberg.
Well, the two brothers are right on the bubble of World Cup success for Austria, but Florian does not make the second cut.
Their father, the world champion in 1993, I think it was.
Multiple World Cup champion Alexander Auer, like Mickey Grumberger and Andy Schmidt. That was a real golden era for
Look at
Austrian
the
sliding.
eyes. Look at the eyes.
Yeah.
Boy. Great pictures.
There's the focus. Doesn't look at all unlike his brother. He's from a pod. But it is all about Russians at the top of the tree. Nikita Tregibov, perhaps the best run, but Alexander Tretyakov, starting nearly 2/10 quicker, managed to overhaul him despite mistakes down the track. So we have Russia, Latvia going into Heat 2. Which of the Russians will come out on top, or will Dukor's brother be able to unseat them? Only one way to find out. Join us for our second heat and see how it works. We have cut 6 from the field. We'll start with Marco Rora of Switzerland. Alexander Tretyakov will go last to defend a 0.12 of a second lead against his young teammate. That will all start at 11 o'clock Central European, 10 GMT. So wherever you are around the world, join us, please. John Morgan, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew will bring you all the action live from Altenberg in Germany. So,
pretty impressive Russian thing.
tight race in prospect. Join us then, 11 o'clock, 10 Greenwich Mean Time for Heat 2.